Hi everyone, this is Dr. Harriet Leyland. Today I'm going to be talking about the links between air pollution and asthma and what we can do to prevent the risks to ourselves. One of the reasons that I thought I'd talk about air pollution and asthma today is because I read a really sad article this week about a 9-year-old girl from London who sadly died after an asthma attack. And her mum has now asked for an investigation into whether air pollution had an impact on her death. It's been known for some time that London's air quality is not good, and unfortunately they've been in breach of EU air quality limits since 2010. And if London is bad, then other cities worldwide are as bad or worse. However, despite knowing the link between air pollution and asthma and knowing that a city has bad air pollution, it's very difficult to prove causality or that air pollution was a factor in one particular death. However, if this investigation were to sort of highlight the link, it may push governments into taking more action against air pollution. Air pollution has been known to worsen asthma symptoms for a long time. I did a piece on the London smogs of the 1950s on TheSmogBlog.org, and the results of that very long-term study showed an increased asthma incidence and worse lifelong lung health for people who had been exposed to those smogs in early childhood or even in utero. And it's also known that acute asthma episodes are more likely on high pollution summer days. One study that I looked at showed a 40% increase on those high pollution days. Asthma is a disease of the lungs where you get narrowing of the small airways, increased mucus production and inflammation. And all air pollutants can basically worsen those symptoms and even sometimes trigger them. Ozone, which is associated with those smoggy, hazy, high pollution days, can increase daily mortality by 0.3% for every 10 microgram per metre cubed increase in ozone. And that's because it's very irritating to the lungs and airways and causes narrowing to these airways, again mirroring the effects that you get in asthma. So for asthmatic lungs that are likely to be sensitive, it could trigger an attack. Airborne particles or particulate matter, PM, is probably the air pollutant type that affects most people worldwide, and it's made up of all sorts of different chemicals that have been suspended in the air. The most health damaging particles are those with the very small diameters of less than 10 microns, also known as PM10, and that's because they can lodge down deep into the lungs and get down into those tiny, tiny little airways. And particulate matter makes asthma worse, both on short-term exposure, so if you're exposed on one day to high pollution levels, but also long-term chronic exposure can make asthma worse. Nitrogen dioxide and sulfur dioxide are two other common components of air pollution. Nitrogen dioxide is particularly associated with emissions from diesel cars, and sulfur dioxide also comes from burning of fossil fuels and vehicle exhausts. And epidemiological studies have shown that they both increase bronchitis episodes, which is inflammation or infection of the lungs in asthmatic children. And this can happen at levels of these pollutants that are measured in Europe and North America, at the moment. So this isn't a problem from many years ago. It's not just a problem in Asia. It's a problem that affects all of us worldwide. So what can we do about it? What can we do to protect ourselves? If you are asthmatic, get to know your asthma. What triggers you? When do you tend to have asthma attacks? And does it seem to be associated with a level of pollution? So to be able to do that, you need to know when and where the pollution is bad. It tends to be worse on hot summer days, particularly ozone builds up on those sort of days towards the afternoon and evening, and on days where there's not much breeze. Particle pollution can be bad any time, even in the winter, but again, when the weather is calm and it doesn't get dispersed. Mostly we think about pollution being associated with cities, busy roads, rush hour factories, but we also need to remember smoke in the air from wood stoves or from burning vegetation that you might find in non-city environments. Monitor the air pollution level using the Air Quality Index, the AQI. Most countries have good websites where they have colour-coded charts of what the pollution levels have been and predicted for the next few days, where green is a low pollution day, yellow or orange getting higher, and up to red obviously when it's severe. So find your local website and have a look at that. Regular exercise is really important, particularly for asthmatics. So it's important for everybody, but I don't want to encourage any asthmatics not to exercise because of the risks of being exposed to pollution. But choosing when you do it is important. So morning might be the better time in the summertime when the pollution hasn't built up, obviously away from roads. Exercising indoors can be a really good option, even swimming can be a good option. And also changing the level of exercise that you're taking. So rather than going for a run, go for a walk, go for a shorter jog rather than a longer one. Basically the aim being to have less deep and rapid breathing, which brings the air pollution deep down into your lungs. You could also consider wearing a mask when you're exercising or all the time, and that's an air pollution specific mask that can block out those small PM10 particles, and there's a few of those on the market. Listen to your body, have reliever medications with you when you go out exercising, and if you notice a change in your symptoms, then go and see the doctor because you don't want to miss an infection or the need to change your medications. So that's a quick summary of air pollution and asthma and what you might be able to do to reduce your risk but keep on exercising. I hope it was interesting and helpful. I welcome any comments or questions. I'll see you soon with a new topic. Bye.